You are listening to Ruido Blanco. And before we get into tonight's big match against Betis, let's remind everyone what happened last time out. Real Madrid 2-1 Deportivo Alaves. Mbappé opened the scoring at the 30-minute mark. Vinicius made it 2 just after the break. And then Tony Martinez, the same Tony Martinez who had to be treated for an injury back in the 16th minute, broke Madrid hearts with a 93rd minute consolation. And the injury news was brutal. Eder Militao hobbled off at halftime and was replaced by Rudiger. Valverde had his own scare in the 24th minute, and Sivera went down on the Alaves side too. It was a match that felt like a medical report as much as a football game. 3 points, yes, but at what cost going into tonight?
The squad is creaking, the season is at a crossroads, and Betis are waiting at La Cartuja. That is the backdrop to everything we are about to discuss. Let's get into it. Something strange is happening in the comment sections today, Rafa. And I don't mean strange in a bad way. I mean strange in a, wait, are people actually defending Arbeloa now kind of way?
Madre mia, I noticed the same thing. It's match day against Betis. We've had weeks of absolute carnage in the fan base, and suddenly there are fans out there saying, and I'm quoting directly, I don't know anyone who gives better press conference answers than Álvaro Arbeloa. 25 upvotes on that, Tio. 25.
And then another fan essentially told everyone to stop stirring the pot. Their words were something like, they love creating drama with Mbappé, with Carvajal, always looking for something. Well done, Arbeloa. Keep it up. There is clearly a section of the fan base that has decided the media narrative is the enemy, not the coach.
Which is fascinating to me, because just yesterday on this show, we were talking about fans being furious at Arbeloa over the Carvajal situation. And now, the wind has shifted, or is this two different camps of fans finally just talking past each other?
I think it's exactly that. Two camps. One camp is done with Arbeloa, they've been done for weeks, and they're just waiting for the season to end. The other camp has decided that the discourse around Arbeloa is manufactured, that journalists are twisting things, and they're circling the wagons.
And then there's a third fan, bless them, who said they'd actually like Arbeloa to stay, reinforce the squad, let the players who need to leave, and see what happens. That's a remarkably calm take for this fan base right now, vamos.
It is calm, almost suspiciously calm. But I get it. When you're exhausted from months of drama, sometimes, let's just see what happens, is the only emotional position left standing.
Okay, but let's talk about the elephant in the room, or rather, the elephant on the television set, because Pedrerol is all over the comments today, and not in a flattering way. Fans are reading between the lines of everything he says.
Right, so one fan is basically saying that Pedrerol just parrots whoever is in his ear at the top. Their read is that when Pedrerol says he likes a certain managerial candidate, it's because someone above told him to say it. That's the level of media skepticism we're dealing with today.
And another fan is out here literally saying, give Pedrerol his seat back at El Chiringuito. He's a good guy and humble, and he deserves it. So, we've got fans who think he's a puppet, and fans who miss him on the old show. The Pedrerol discourse is its own civil war at this point.
Which tells you something important. Fans are not really talking about football right now. They're talking about the media ecosystem around football. That's what happens when you're eliminated from the Champions League and the league title feels distant. The conversation turns meta.
Speaking of the league title, because it is matchday, Tio, we should actually address this, there are fans who are genuinely trying to keep the La Liga flame alive. One fan ran the numbers and said that if they win tonight, they're only 7 points behind whoever has the most. That's not nothing, not.
It's not nothing, but another fan was very quick to say, and this is the more grounded take, the league isn't won, that's a fact, but the team's duty is to keep competing and enjoying it until the last second of the season. Which, you know, is basically saying, we might not win it, but let's not embarrass ourselves.
And then there's the fan who pointed out that without Lamine Yamal, Barca should be winning this league, and if they don't, it would be a failure on their part. So, some Madrid fans are essentially counting on Barca to bottle it rather than Madrid to surge. Que barbaridad. That's where we are.
Which is actually a psychologically honest place to be. After the Bayern elimination, nobody is pretending Madrid are going to win the Champions League. So the calculation becomes, can we salvage the league? And the honest answer is, maybe, if others drop points.
Tonight against Betis is exactly the kind of game where Madrid need to be professional, get the 3 points, and let the table sort itself out. The Alaves game last week, 2-1, Mbappé and Vinicius both on the score sheet, showed the team can still perform. They just need to do it consistently.
And fans are cautiously noting that. The post-Alaves mood wasn't celebration. We covered that. But it also wasn't complete despair. There's a quiet acknowledgement that the team is still functional, even if the season has been defined by what it didn't achieve.
Now, the UCL comments. Because even though we're out, fans are still processing it, and some of the takes are getting philosophical. One fan basically said that to win the Champions League, the sporting side of the club needs to be completely insulated from administrative and political issues. That's a big claim.
It's a big claim, but it's also a very revealing one. It tells you that a section of the fan base believes the club's off-field chaos, whatever form that takes, is bleeding into on-field performance. Whether that's true or not, the perception exists, and perceptions shape fan culture.
And then there's the fan who just cuts straight to it. We want the Champions League, we want good reinforcements. No analysis, no nuance, just demands. Which, honestly, is the purest form of Madridismo. Vamos, give me the best players and the biggest trophies. That's the deal.
That is the deal, Rafa. That has always been the deal. The question is whether this summer's transfer window actually delivers on that, or whether we spend another 3 months of this show debating whether the right people are making the right decisions.
Almost certainly the latter, let's be honest. But tonight is Betis at La Cartuja, and I want to see what this team does when the pressure is on, but the stakes feel manageable. No Champions League anxiety, no elimination drama. Just 3 points. Can they do it cleanly?
That's the right question going into tonight, and we'll have all the fan reaction, all the chaos, all the takes, good, bad, and completely unhinged, tomorrow morning, right here on Ruido Blanco, Hala Madrid.
Hala Madrid, Tio. Don't miss us tonight. We'll be running the numbers while the match plays out, and tomorrow we give you everything. See you then. Okay, so the fans are split on Arbeloa. They're cautiously pointing at the Alaves win as proof of life, and they're quietly hoping Barca drop points. But here's the thing, that Alaves match also handed us Milito's injury, Valverde's scare, and a squad that looks increasingly threadbare. The fans can feel something is fragile. Maria, you've been deep in the numbers all day. What does the data actually say about what Madrid are walking into tonight?
Rafa, let me start with the numbers that should genuinely worry every Madrid fan. Betis have a two-headed attacking monster, and when I say that, I mean it statistically. Juan Camilo Hernandez, Cucho, has 9.3 expected goals this season across 27 games, and he has scored 8. That is almost perfect alignment, which means this is not a hot streak. This is sustainable, elite-level quality.
Wait, so he is not just on a run of luck? He is actually this good? That is somehow worse than I hoped.
And then you add Anthony on the other side. 7.1 expected goals, 7 actual goals in 26 games. Again, perfectly on pace. These two combined for 15 goals and 8 assists in La Liga this season. Neither of them is due a cold spell. The data is not giving us that comfort.
So the two guys we need to have a bad day are statistically guaranteed to not have a bad day. Estupendo. And we are fielding a defense held together with hope and tape.
That is not far from the truth. Against Bayern, Madrid conceded 4 goals and allowed 15 shots inside the box in a single match. 15. That signals a complete collapse of the defensive structure in central areas. And now, Militão hobbled off against Alaves. Rudiger is carrying knock concerns, and Raúl Asensio is injured. Arbeloa is going to have to build a back line almost from scratch.
Cucho, who is a physical aerial menace, running directly at whoever Arbeloa patches together at centre-back. I do not want to think about this, but I cannot stop thinking about it.
Now here is the creative problem, layered on top of the defensive one. Arda Güler received a straight red card in the dying minutes against Bayern and faces a suspension. He had 70 key passes and 9 assists in La Liga this season. He leads Madrid's entire creative output. Without him threading passes between the lines, the midfield loses its most important connection to the attack.
Güler was the one making things happen when Mbappé had a quiet 10 minutes. Without him, who does that? Who finds the space between the lines?
And Betis have a player specifically designed to exploit that vacancy. Pablo Fornals has 6.7 expected assists this season, nearly double his actual return of 4. That gap tells you his teammates are wasting the chances he creates, but the creative output is real and consistent. He will find those spaces in Madrid's midfield, and without Güler to control tempo on the other side, Betis could dominate passages of the game in ways they simply would not in other away fixtures.
So, Fornals is basically generating chances at a rate nobody is crediting him for, and now he gets to play against a Madrid midfield missing its best creative player? The universe is not on our side today, Maria.
Add Abdesamad Ezalzouli into this equation. 8.4 expected goals combined with 5.2 expected assists in just 23 games. That is an expected goal involvement of nearly 14 across fewer than two-thirds of a season. He is Betis's most dangerous wide threat, and Madrid's left side, already compromised defensively, could be his playground.
Okay, so Cucho through the middle, Ezalzouli on the wing, Fornals pulling strings in behind a depleted midfield. What is the bold prediction? Because I need something, Maria. Anything.
Here is the bold prediction, and it is not comfortable. The data shows that every single one of Betis's three main attacking threats, Cucho, Antony, and Ezalzouli, is performing exactly in line with their expected goals. None of them are overperforming. None of them are due to regress. This means Betis will create at least two big chances through direct vertical play, targeting the space behind Madrid's makeshift centre-backs, and Fornals will be directly involved in at least one goal or assist. This is the most winnable away game Betis will have all season, and the numbers say they should take at least a point.
You are telling me the data says Betis, at the Bernabeu, should take a point from us in a La Liga match we need?
The one variable that could override all of this is Kylian Mbappé. He has 24 goals from 23.6 expected goals across 129 shots this season, an almost perfect conversion rate, and he is simply the most reliable finisher in the division by a significant distance. If he starts and is even close to full fitness, Madrid win. But here is the uncomfortable data point. He has had two separate injury delays in his last two matches, and against Alaves, Madrid's shooting performance was -1.3. They massively underperformed their expected goals against a relegated level side. Without Mbappé at his absolute best, this team's chance creation is dangerously thin.
So basically, if Mbappé is fit and sharp, we win despite everything. If he is carrying that knock and Arbeloa starts him anyway out of necessity and not logic, then the data says Betis leave Madrid with something. That is the match in one sentence, isn't it?
That is exactly the match in one sentence. Arbeloa's most important decision today is not tactical. It is whether to protect their 24-goal striker or risk burning him out before the season's decisive weeks. The data would say, rest him. The pressure will say, play him. And what Arbeloa decides will tell us everything about how this ends.
And there you have it, the full picture on Ruido Blanco. The fans are divided on Arbeloa, clinging to the Alaves win as a sign this team still has a pulse, and quietly praying Barca slip up so Madrid don't have to be perfect. And the data is telling us this Betis match is genuinely dangerous. A patchwork defense, no Güler, and a Betis attack that is not getting lucky, they are just that good. The one thread holding all of this together is Mbappé, and even he is carrying question marks from the Alaves scare. Tonight we find out whether Arbeloa trusts the numbers or ignores them. We will have every reaction, every stat, every unhinged take tomorrow morning right here. Hala Madrid, and we will see you tomorrow.